After Nara's confession, I felt like the world had shifted. My heart was this wild, fluttering thing in my chest, a mix of excitement and pure terror. At school, it was even worse. I'd try to act normal, focus on my classes, but my eyes would betray me, always searching for her in the crowded hallways. She was doing the same, I could tell. She'd try to be casual, laughing with her friends, but then her gaze would find mine from across the room, and for a second, everything would just stop. It was this invisible string pulling us together, even when we tried to keep our distance. I was scared. Scared of what this all meant, scared of getting hurt. But then we'd have these small moments. We were assigned a history project together, something about ancient trade routes. It was so boring, but we ended up laughing so hard we cried over a ridiculous drawing of a camel I made. Or in the library, surrounded by dusty books and silence, our eyes would meet over the top of a shelf, and we'd share this secret smile. The air around us felt different, charged with something I couldn't name. It was sweet, and it was electric. The real change happened during the preparations for the school's annual arts festival. Every class had to put on a performance, and of course, Nara and I were paired up for a duet. She played the piano beautifully, and I was supposed to sing. The first few practices were a disaster of awkwardness. I'd stand stiffly by the piano, my voice barely a whisper, while she played the notes with a precision that felt cold. We were both holding back, hiding behind the music. One afternoon, we got into a silly argument about the tempo. I said she was playing it too fast, and she said I was singing it too slow. "It's a love song, Nara, not a race," I remember saying, my voice sharper than I intended. She stopped playing, turning on the piano bench to face me. The silence in the music room was deafening. "Maybe that's the problem, May," she said softly, her voice barely audible. "Maybe I'm rushing because I'm scared of what happens when we slow down." My breath caught in my throat. She was right. We were both terrified. She stood up and walked towards me. The late afternoon sun filtered through the tall windows, casting long shadows on the floor. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her eyes searching mine. I'm not good at this." "Me neither," I admitted, my own voice trembling. Her hand found mine, our fingers tentatively lacing together. A jolt, warm and startling, shot up my arm. It wasn't just a touch. It felt like a connection, a current passing between us. Slowly she leaned in. The world seemed to fade away, the sounds of the school, the ticking of the clock, everything just paused, and then her lips met mine. It was gentle, hesitant, and so much more than I could have ever imagined. It wasn't a passionate, movie-style kiss. It was a question and an answer all at once. It was the taste of fear and longing, the silent acknowledgement of everything we hadn't been able to say. It was our first kiss. In that moment, I understood that intimacy wasn't just physical. It was this sharing a single fragile moment of complete vulnerability. But perfect moments are often fleeting, aren't they? My best friend Ploy started noticing. She's known me since we were kids who scraped their knees on the same playground. She saw the way I looked at Nara, the way my entire mood would lift just by being near her. One day, after school, she pulled me aside. "May," she started, her tone gentle but serious. "You seem really happy with Nara, but just be careful, okay?" I knew what she meant. She wasn't being malicious. She was worried. "Love is a beautiful thing," she continued, "but it can make you blind to other things. It can get complicated." Her words stuck with me. I loved Nora, or at least I was starting to think I did, but I loved Ploy too. The thought of my new happiness causing a rift in my oldest friendship filled me with a familiar dread. Was it possible to have both? Or would I be forced to choose? It felt like my heart was being pulled in two different directions, torn between a thrilling new beginning and the comfort of the past. Meanwhile, Nara was facing her own silent battle. Her family was traditional, and while they loved her, They had certain expectations. She told me one night over a late night call that her parents were planning a big family gathering. They wanted to introduce her to the son of a family friend. She was trying to be lighthearted about it, making jokes, but I could hear the strain in her voice. "What am I supposed to do, May?" She asked, the question hanging in the air between us. How do I even begin to explain us? That question echoed in my own mind. It wasn't just about our feelings anymore. It was about the world around us, a world that wasn't always ready to understand. It takes so much courage to choose your own happiness when it doesn't fit the mold everyone else has designed for you. I wondered if we were brave enough. I spent a lot of time thinking, staring out my window at night, watching the seconds tick by on my clock. I thought about how fast time moves, how moments disappear. And I wondered, can love really be timeless if you never have the courage to speak its name out loud, to give it a place in the world? Despite all the fear and the uncertainty, our bond was growing stronger every day. It was forged in the quiet moments, the unspoken truths. We found our own little world in late-night text messages, sharing everything from our deepest fears to the most ridiculous memes. We'd send each other song lyrics that said what we couldn't. Just being in the same room, even in silence, became a source of comfort. It was a slow, beautiful dance, two hearts learning a new rhythm together. Every shared smile, every brief touch, every whispered secret was a note in our own private song. It was the heartwarming, agonizing, and utterly captivating progression of a first love. We were building something fragile and precious, one secret at a time. Then, the next day at school, everything changed again. I went to my locker after class, my mind still buzzing from our last practice. Tucked into the vent was a small, folded piece of paper. My heart started to race before I even opened it. I recognized the handwriting immediately. It was Nara's. The note was simple, only a few words written in her elegant script. It said, "Meet me where our hearts can be free." My hands trembled as I read it over and over. Where? When? What did it mean? A million questions swirled in my head, but underneath it all, a single powerful feeling bloomed: hope. What would happen next? I had no idea, but I knew I had to be there.